Yo, welcome back to the MMA Short Show. As always, your boy, Stephen Moustaris. And guys, I'm going to do this one. I don't usually do this, honestly, because so many people do it. But, I got, when you guys comment, you guys request a video, especially, coming from my dude out there. It might even be brothers, but the Dorsey boys probably got your comment on here. You said something about you want to just maybe hear me, do some quick picks and some predictions for the card. So, normally I don't do this, but I definitely will do this for sure for anybody who, if you guys have any requests for any video, I love this shit. I love talking MMA. It's the only reason I do this is to connect with you guys. So, I really appreciate everything. So, let's get straight into it. I'm going to try to make this short and sweet. I'm a ranter. So, I'm going to say like, oh, I'm going to make them quick. Here's a quick pick. And then 2 minutes later, you're like, all right, dude, you don't got to tell us the same thing 50 times. So, first things first, I want to start off with the heavyweights. I want to start off with the respect for Derek Lewis. This sucks because it's in Salt Lake City, so it's way above elevation. These guys are going to get gassed. Marcos Rogerio de Lima is a fat motherfucker. Like, let's be honest. Derek Lewis, he apparently has abs this fight night, or this fight card. But I'm telling you guys right now, it's not going to be pretty if it gets out of 2 minutes. I think Marcos Rogerio de Lima's got more to work with. I think he's got more to keep him fired up and more to win because he has not done nearly as much as what Derek Lewis has done. In the past few fights, Derek Lewis looks like, hey, I got hit, whatever, pretty decently harder than I wanted to. And, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have sat here and traded with this dude. But, I'm going to take my money and I'm going to take the licks and get out of here. So, I'm leaning more Marcos Rogerio de Lima, especially if it gets out of that first minute. Going to the next one, this Michael Chiesa-Kevin Holland fight for me is pretty tough because I do think Michael Chiesa has a huge advantage on the ground. But with that being said, Kevin Holland, guys, I don't know about you. I've been golfing like a motherfucker, and everything that I do in life, I feel like all of us, once we get older, you learn that you got to put the hours in, you got to put the work in, you got to put the effort, you got to do everything so to even stay good or stay consistent. So Kevin Holland's been doing that second to absolutely nobody. He's putting hours in. He's got his 10,000 hours in. He's got his reps in. He's got everything in. So I think I'm leaning him, probably keeping Chiesa at range, and that's a bad night for Chiesa. So I think I'm leaning more. I think I can feel a Kevin Holland finish. The dude, he's just got that power in his hands. Something about them skinny, tall motherfuckers that don't lift at all. Just got that power. I'm over here lifting all the time. And I mean, I feel like I punch hard and everything at kickboxing. But when it comes to these boys, them tall, skinny guys, it's just them straight. They got that pop on them. I don't know what it is. Lucky them. So, but I got Kevin Holland for sure. And I wouldn't be shocked at a Michael Chiesa retirement. Same with Derek Lewis. I think we're going to see probably a Derek Lewis retirement as well if he loses. So, on to the next one. One of the saddest ones of the night that I've been talking about, and everybody that watched my Tony Ferguson video, much love. It's a sad weekend. As much as I don't want to see him lose a sixth one in a row, I do kind of actually think he's got more tools to actually beat a Bobby Green. But at the same time, he's taken so much damage, and I do not like at all what he's been saying in his pre-fight interviews. If you guys have been listening, he says he hasn't tried his last few fights. He hasn't even been watching tape, hasn't even been training hard. And I'm like, you haven't been training hard against guys that get you to a title. Michael Chandler, Beneil Dariush, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje. You haven't been trying? Like, excuse me, Nate Diaz, you haven't been trying? I'm sorry, what? So, it scares me, and it seems like he's like, hey, 5 more fights in a title fight, and I'm there still. Kind of scares me, so I think I'm probably going to see a Bobby Green just piece the fuck up out of Tony Ferguson, sadly. So I'm leaning more Bobby Green. Wonder Boy and Michel Pereira. I don't like this matchup at all. I think Michel Pereira is not even going to come close to touching Wonder Boy. From what they're already showing, Wonder Boy's the nicest dude in the world, and Michel Pereira seems to be playing into that very respect game. Like, oh, I'm respecting the hell out of Wonder Boy. He's amazing. He's a legend. And if you're going to do that with Wonder Boy, that's right down his alley. So I got Wonder Boy, probably, unanimous decision, 30-27. I think we're going to see a lot of like hugging and, respect and, like I think Wonder Boy's probably going to hit Michel Pereira with some like wild like front kicks or teep kicks and everything that he's really good with on that front foot. And I think Michelle's going to be like, oh, that's really impressive. So like give that little hug or that little high five in the middle of the fight. Like, oh, that was a great punch. Great punch. Oh, wow. Really good stuff. So I think it's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be a lot like Wonder Boy, Holland, in the fact that Wonder Boy just doesn't get touched. I think Michel Pereira is not going to have anything to touch him with. I know he's awkward, but I just don't see it. And, again, Wonder Boy is 40, so if Wonder Boy goes out and, loses, I wouldn't be shocked at all at a retirement, especially to somebody in that mid-range, like, level of talent, like a Michel Pereira, no offense, but, so And then Jan Blachowicz, Alex Pereira is one of the tougher fights, man, for real. I don't know, just because if Alex Pereira didn't come off this 3 month, just 3 months ago or 2.5 months ago or whatever, just got knocked out by Israel Adesanya, like cold, I would probably be leaning a little more Alex at that rate. But, Jan's got way more to work with, way more to finish his fight on the ground, especially. But, he is 4-0 against middleweights, like we've talked about in the past, like especially when they're moving up. Like I think he's beat Cannonier, he's beat Jacare Souza, he's beat Luke Rockhold viciously, and then he's beat Izzy. So, but the one thing that none of those guys are as big is Alex Pereira. So I think the striking is going to be a big disadvantage for Jan. We also have to remember Jan's 40 now, man. Jan's been looking, pretty slow in his last few fights. Hasn't looked the greatest. I know it's not his fault with the Rakic fight because Alexander Rakic got hurt. But let's be real here. His title fight with Glover Teixeira was one of the worst. Like, what the fuck? We just watched you put on a great performance against Israel Adesanya. Then you come out here and lose to a 44-year-old fucking Glover Teixeira. And then your fight with Magomed Ankalaev. Like, you guys go out there and you guys put on one of the most boring fights in the world, which is half of his fault too. But I don't know, man. I want to say Jan with a submission or a TKO on the ground, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think Alex Pereira takeover light heavyweight's coming. So I think it's time for a new face. And honestly, I think I'm leaning Alex Pereira knockout. Seriously, I think he shocks the night. I think he's like one of the most shocking things of the night. And then this title fight, BMF belt. It's one of the toughest ones to pick from. Both of these guys, living legends. Love them. Absolutely love both of them. All the respect in the world. It's just tough to even see that one of them has to lose. And, with that being said, it's been cool. Like, I love how they're both saying it's 5 years ago. Gaethje's been fighting with game plans ever since then. Dustin Poirier's grown so much. They both evolved so crazy. I love the leg kicks from Gaethje, but, I love the bread and butter from Dustin Poirier. His boxing, his counterboxing, his defense, his fucking everything, his grittiness, his advantage, and when it is into the chaos, like it's Dustin Poirier all day to me. I think he gets it done. But this is my thing. I don't think it's going to be as great as a fight that we remember the first one. I think it's going to be a lot more like slow pace. And with that being said, I think Dustin Poirier just runs away with it at that rate. Wouldn't be shocked at like a third or fourth round submission, shockingly. I think DP is going to go, okay, I've watched your last few fights. You're not easy to take down, but once I get you down, you always give the backup and you try to crawl to the fence, which is like the biggest no-no, especially with great jiu-jitsu guys with great guillotines and stuff where rear naked chokes, either one where you got all four, you got both hands and your knees on the ground, like, and your guy's got the back, like you're just asking to get choked out, like we've seen against Habib and Charles. So yeah, probably going DP, BMF belt, whatever, gay as hell. I don't like the BMF belt, but still, those are my predictions. And yeah, like I said, wouldn't be shocked at all at 2 or 3 retirements this weekend. So it's always your boy Stephen Moustaris. Let's go, baby. Let's go.